since then, I actually learned more about this housing announcement, and it's got a big price tag with very few houses. And again, it's just rolling out, but the first rollout is 4,000 houses, and I forget the big number of what they have attached to that. But essentially, if it was just those 4,000 houses, each house would cost like $3 million, and these are supposed to be affordable homes. So there's a disconnect there. Like, so how much is the housing accelerator going towards actually building quality homes that Canadians want to live in?
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Tell Me I'm Wrong. So today, well, yesterday I was kind of planning to do this. I apologize for no video yesterday. I really wanted to do the Canada's budget announcement. I was sitting there listening to it all day, listening to the live feed and all. And I mean, to me, it came out so late where I'm at that it was like already dinner time and stuff by the time I could have it already. Had to get the kid all dealt with. So didn't just really work out yesterday for that, so I apologize. But we are going to cover it today. Um, there are some interesting things I seen about it, and that's a kind of a good thing though too. Actually, that I kind of waited a day on it, and we might make this a precedence going here forward. Is like it's let's get the facts together and everything first. So many people just jump like, oh, I hear this, and I'm automatically assuming something. I'm not saying anything's enlightened me to tell me that it's better. Don't get me wrong. But we've gathered a lot more of the facts. We've got a lot more of the data. We got a lot more insight than we did 12 hours ago. So I think that's better that we cover it now. With that being said, there's been a few key points, I guess, that have been brought up over the last couple days leading up to this that I'm going to kind of lead with. And then we'll get into what was just happened with the budget, because I'm sorry to tell you guys, but it's not looking good for Canada. It really isn't, And I really don't know how there's people that can't see this, but hopefully we'll shine some light to that today. So, yeah, I guess without further ado, let's just get into the first one here. And it's going to be Adam Chambers talking in the House of Commons here. So let's hear what he has to say. I thought this was pretty interesting.
But out of curiosity, I went to look at what the top 10 Canadian exports to the UK were. Do you know what they are, Madam Chair? I'll give you a hint. The first one. Sometimes you like to wear it, and you look good in gold, Madam Chair. Gold is the #1 export to the UK, which leads me to another question. Where is all the gold in Canada? Where are the reserves? Canada has no more gold reserves at the Bank of Canada. Guess who sold some of those reserves, Madam Chair? The Prime Minister, when he was central bank governor. Guess who he sold them to? The UK. Interesting. Out of the top 52 countries that have gold reserves in the world, guess where Canada ranks? Not even on the list, Madam Chair, because we have 0. While other countries around the world have been piling up their gold reserves, Canada has been selling them all. The US, China, Poland, Turkey, the list goes on and on and on. And Canada has made the choice to sell its gold reserves. Thank you to the Prime Minister. Now, to the Prime Minister's defense, he's not the only central bank governor that's been selling Canada's gold. That's been going on for many years, but he continued it. But it's funny that he sold it to the country of which he then went to become that central bank governor. I guess he was okay to keep it when he was the central bank governor in the UK. They didn't sell their gold reserves.
See, and Adam here brought up a couple good questions, like where's the reserves, where is it, why do we have none and stuff. And the other party's answer was, we sold this off so we could diversify and put it into more, different revenue sources, basically. Well, what have you put it into? What have you done? Like, Canada's main sectors has always been the same thing. Like lumber, oil, like rare minerals and stuff like that. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word there for a minute. But yeah, Like these are always been the cornerstone of our thing. You know, we got stuff like the sealers and stuff. Like, you know, just think of what Canada was built on. This is what we still have. Maple syrup. Everyone loves our maple syrup. You know, these are the things we're known for. Like, we gotta just do what we're known for, man. Like, why are we sitting here, you know, trying to do stuff that they're doing over in, like, Saudi Arabia? We don't live in Saudi. What works for their economy and what works for their people, what resources they have available to them, aren't what we have. To an extent, yes, we do have a lot of oil like them. We are actually just behind them on oil, which is another thing that baffles me. It's like you look at places like Saudi. I know it's kind of off topic here, but they don't have, as far as I'm aware of, any capital gains tax. I'm pretty sure they gave a stipend out to every citizen for like first homeowners or something like that, equivalent to, I think it was like $150,000 US to help them buy their first home. Like, their oil is making their country rich, their country great. The people are thriving. We are right up there with how much oil we have, and yet we're doing nothing with it. We're not. So when this guy's going to sit here, and we're talking about the gold here in this example, you can't say you diversified and did what with it? You sold off our actual assets to give us what? Nothing. They're absolutely nothing. So you're like, oh, let's not beat around the bush. You know what we did with it, blah, blah, blah. We know what you did, yes. You wasted it. Absolutely wasted it. That's what's mind-blowing here. It's just, there's no accountability ever. None. And they say it with pride. Yeah, sorry. They don't even say we fucked up. They're just like, yeah, it happened. Well, call it what you want. I mean, man, just money was here and then it was gone, and then people were great and now they're doing bad. I don't know. It's be divine intervention. It's insane. So I just thought this was interesting, though. You know, like, you look at the first lady speak about, like, the housing and stuff like that. $3 million a house? I can't fucking afford that. I don't know anyone in my age bracket that can afford that. No one. I got, like, 2 friends that I know via gaming that are, like, very successful business owners that could afford that. 2. Like, it's fucking retarded. You're gonna say this is, like, you're setting back the gold standard for Canada. You're gonna do all this? No, you're not. You're not. Let's keep it real. And this budget reflects that, which we're going to get into here. So let's go shift over to that. We'll go take a look at what announcements came out in this, because holy jeez, guys. Like, if this don't have your blood boiling, like, I don't know what will. Like, what is it going to take for people to see it? So let's go check it out. Hey guys, so let's check out Pierre's announcement here and see what he has to say. I'm going to do it in this type of format because there's a few issues I want to touch on directly as he's saying them, so I'll try to make it brief and to the point. But definitely goes a little bit further down the rabbit hole than what he's even letting on.
Today, the Liberals have introduced the most costly and largest budget deficit in history outside of COVID. The cost of this Liberal budget will drive up the cost of food, housing, and everything else that Canadians buy. And the Prime Minister has broken every single promise he made just 7 short months ago. He promised a $62 billion deficit. He delivered nearly an $80 billion deficit, $16 billion bigger than he promised and twice the size that his predecessor left.
So about that really quickly, they referenced the number 78 billion. This could be well over it. I'm pretty sure it was like 150 billion, or no, 130, sorry. But what they're gonna do is, or at least what they're saying is, they're gonna cut, I think it was like 28,000 federal jobs, a bunch of other things, and in doing so should save 50 million. So the actual leftover number with those savings should be the 78 billion. Sorry if I said million there. I don't know. I meant everything with a B. Billions. We're talking billions here, and so that's kind of the problem here. Is if he doesn't do these cuts, that number could be well above the 78 billion. We could be in the triple digits. We could be in the and all that. It's insane.
Behind, he promised to lower the debt to GDP ratio. He raised it, and inflation along with it. He promised to spend less. He's spending $90 billion more, costing $5,400 per family in Canada. And that $90 billion, to the Prime Minister's heckles, is above and beyond the promised $16 billion that he says he will one day find. And if he doesn't find them, it will be over $100 billion in brand new spending to respond to the Prime Minister's heckles, Mr. Speaker. He also promised that he would invest more.
And about that, if it ever does come to a government shift, the more debt this government gets itself into, the higher interest payments the next government has to pay, which means the less wiggle room they have within their budget in order to get their job accomplished. So this is essentially just could be like, you know, him shooting himself in the foot to just pretty much ensure, like, hey, even if conservatives do win, they just got nothing. Like, you know, the day will come where they'll probably win, and let's just make sure. But when that day comes, despite fighting for Canada, let's just make sure Canada has nothing for them.
His own budget document lays out a graph showing that every quarter of this year will see private sector business investment collapse. This costly budget forces Canadians to spend more on debt interest than on healthcare transfers. Wow. More than the government collects in GST. That means every dollar the Canadians pay in GST will go to bankers and bondholders instead of to doctors and nurses.
And that's what everyone complains about. Everyone's like, screw the rich people, screw these stockholders, screw all them. But you're not, you're just continuing the cycle. And then you get mad at them. It's what you voted for. It's what you voted for. When will you learn?
All while he raises the industrial carbon tax on farm equipment and fertilizer and therefore food, on steel, concrete, and other industrial projects needed to build homes, a big tax increases on homes and food. And on behalf of all the Canadians who can no longer afford to eat, heat, or house themselves because of Liberal inflation, we Conservatives cannot support this costly Liberal budget.
Is this an austerity budget?
It's hard to tell.
And it just doesn't make sense to me. You look at stuff like farmers in Canada. Like, how can you not say, like, say these fuel things and stuff doesn't trickle down through society, doesn't affect everything? Like, bring it through the chain, you know, you got the farmer. Like, if he's paying more on gas to run his machines and stuff, to do his crops, obviously it's costing him more to get those said item from the ground. So he has to obviously charge more, right? Then now there's gases cost more for the truckers that pick it up from there and bring it to the distribution center or the store or wherever, right? That gas, so it's like the cost is going up, and it's just insane for people to sit there and be like, oh no, it doesn't trickle down, it doesn't affect nothing. It does. Like, the math doesn't math otherwise. Like, I don't know how you can think that.
At this point, you know, what I'll say is it's got a very large deficit. Spending is up in many ways. There are, you know, some record investments, but it also is, you know, cutting public services that Canadians need. There's complex issues that are facing us, and I don't think that we can oversimplify whether policies are going to respond or not. So I'll tell you a few things that we like about the budget. There's $51 billion.
And him talking about the services and stuff, I think one of the cuts he mentioned, I could be wrong on this, don't quote me, I don't want to send the whole gaggle after this, but I think one of the things was the CRA and stuff, and there's been nothing but complaints recently about, like, CRA wait times, about how people take forever to get on. And I think there was some data put out where only 17% of the information that that the employees give out is actually accurate information. The other 83% is wrong. 83% wrong. Like, it's insane. You can't tell me, like, it's just, I don't know how people don't just realize these numbers and say, what the fuck is going on? This is your government. This is how they operate. This is how they run. And this is nothing new. It's been Liberals for 10 years. Everyone's been complaining about CRA for ages. I know me myself. I've been a Canadian citizen my entire life. I think it was last year. It took them 10 months to do my taxes. 10 months. And don't get me wrong, I was fine to go by without it, but I didn't get none of my carbon tax rebates that they were always bragging about. I didn't get none of these things for so long later because it was like they didn't do my taxes. And I filed them in time. I did everything I was supposed to on my end as a citizen. It was them. And I called CRA and I'm like, what the hell? Should I just have filed it as an immigrant already? Like, I would have been done in 2 weeks. Plus, you would have given me a check in a parade. Like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Dollars in infrastructure spending, and that's linked to unionized jobs.
Oh yeah, sorry, that's what I was gonna say was that's one of the things. I think he's trying to cut those jobs, and it's like, no, buddy, cutting the jobs isn't gonna solve the problem. You just need to hire proper people in there. I'm sure there's quite a few people that need to get fired and replaced, but it doesn't mean we need to cut those jobs. If anything, we probably need more people in there so that we can get stuff done quicker. But yeah, that's liberal policy for you. I don't know how else to make it more clear.
Or community benefit agreements, which requires that work to be done through wage prevailing rates. So that could create good family-sustaining jobs, which has been a priority for the NDP. On the negative side, you have 40,000 public sector job cuts. And when you have a jobs crisis, cutting union, family-sustaining, good jobs is the opposite direction of where we want to go. And we have to remember, behind every job is a service. Do Canadians really want to wait 6 months to get a passport? You want to wait 3 months to get a call back from CRA? The seniors want to wait to get their old age security checks? These are the kind of real life consequences of cutting public sector workers there are. I would also point out that Mr. Carney promised Canadians during the election.
Well, like I said, there are, I don't want to come out and everyone's going to be like, oh, obviously conservatives hate the entire government. Everyone who's, on their side right now, everyone hates everyone. No. We obviously need government. We need stuff going on. Again, I think CRA should have, if we need 10,000 people on those phones answering calls and helping Canadians, put 10,000 people in those fucking seats. It's that simple. If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. But like I said in the example earlier, you don't need a 200-man team for somebody to answer an email. That's where the issue lies in, right? I mean, I'm sure people can make the distinction between the two.
That he would cap the public sector, not cut it. This is not an NDP budget. This is a Liberal budget. And this is what you get when you elect a Liberal government, is you get cuts to services and you get sacrifices that are to be made by working people, while the richest people in this country are left scot-free. So you see there's positive and negatives in this budget, and we're going to take a comprehensive look and weigh it out in the aggregate.
You're sounding a lot less harsh than any of the other opposition parties, I gotta say. Are you telegraphing you guys are going to vote for this budget, or just be absent on budget vote day?
No, we're just more rational maybe than the other parties are. We're not telegraphing anything. I'm a Jack Layton, New Democrat. We came to Parliament to make Parliament work. We want to be propositional, and we want to give this budget the serious once-over that it deserves. And we want to consult with Canadians.
It sounds like you're leaning toward voting no on this budget. Can you explain why?
You have a very good perspective on things. Where did you get that?
Just listening.
I hardly see how, after having met with our caucus tonight, we could vote in favor of this budget.
Someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I think, wasn't that the guy at the debates? We had the debates and he was representing the Bloc or whatever, the French side. I'm horrible with names. I'm horrible with all this stuff. So, but I'm pretty sure that was the same guy. I really liked him in that debate, to be fair. I thought he was really well spoken. I've agreed with a lot of this stuff, but I thought he was really well spoken and stuff. I thought he was really good.
Those 78.
Again, not saying I agreed with his policy, just personality. I thought he was a good person and stuff like that. From what I heard him speak, not behind the scenes or anything.
Billions dollars of deficit, whatever tricks they want to invent. There's nothing of what we did ask in the budget. And I must tell you that what the Bloc Québécois asked in order to maybe support the budget about elders, about healthcare transfers, about what we did ask, but one thing that was not given to Quebecers and given to everybody else would have been good for all Canadians, not only Quebecers. Still, the answer is no. This is a red conservative budget which Mr. Harper might have signed. And there's nothing for Quebecers in there, absolutely nothing. We did ask what was basically the object of a large consensus with the population of Quebec. And the answer from a Quebecer, Mr. Champagne, is blunt. No.
Do you know if the Liberals are trying to approach anyone from your
What?
party
No.
to cross the floor?
I'd be quite surprised. You know,
I love how like they're even laughing in the background. They know how humorous this is. You can't see the other guy's face here. He's just been chuckling the whole time. Well, let me move my face cam for a minute here. I gotta show you guys this. Like, look at that smile on his face. He's been laughing his ass off the whole time at this. Like, and this is just how funny things have become in this world. Like, you know, people can't even stand up here and speak without laughing because it's just so fucking absurd what things have become nowadays. Like, even their own people, it's just, yeah, we can't roll with this. It's just too bad.
we are about as close to Liberals as Quebec is from New Zealand. It's the other side of the world.
As it stands right now, would you vote no on the budget?
Absolutely. There's no way that we can, as Greens, vote yes on this budget. But I want to emphasize there are several days in which this budget can be negotiated and amended before it goes to a vote. And that's something that doesn't get discussed much. I am surprised that Mr. Carney has not reached out, or that more of his ministers haven't reached out to say, what would it take to get Greens to vote for
And that is very true. Like, this was only the announcement of the budget. This isn't no final signing. This isn't like it's set in stone. It's, here's our plans. Should we proceed? Do we got to vote on it? Like, that's where we're at. So that is a very fair point she makes right now that a lot of people don't really realize, is there is time to make adjustments to things. So people just need to speak loud enough.
this budget. In the same way I hear from friends in the New Democratic Party, they haven't felt that there's been an effort to get us on side early on. So we are now in a position where I think every vote's going to matter, every vote's going to count, and I would invite the Prime Minister, and I've sent this message through the officials who were with us in the lockup, please let them know I'd like to talk, because there's some things that could be done that would make it possible for us to vote for this budget.
And like I've always said, guys, like, I don't know if I mentioned on this channel before, but I'll say it now. I feel like a lot of society, most of us in general, are pretty like liberal at heart. We're pretty left at heart. And I know it might sound weird for me to say that, but when you really think about it, like, we all kind of agree on a lot of the same issues. We all want to be progressive. If not, we'd still be cavemen. Let's just keep it real. So, I mean, to a certain extent, I feel a lot of us actually want to work together and look for progress. But there's also a fine line, too, about being realistic. And that's where one side has completely went off course over the last couple of years. It's just being realistic. You look at a lot of these things that we just brought up today, like the gold or the housing or, you know, a lot of this stuff. Like, where is this realistic for anything? You're living in a fantasy world. It's mind-blowing that people are sitting here and still supporting this, and it's right in front of your face. So what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to cover the like how the left is pretty much the left, you know, whether it's Democrat or liberal, and the right's pretty much the right, whether you're fucking conservative or Republican at this point. And that's not the way it was meant to be. That's not. But that's what it's become. That's what it's become. And like I said, you look at nonsensical issues, that's what the left is nowadays. This is strictly what they are. They're sitting here telling you, you know, boys can get pregnant and you can change your gender and you can identify as whatever you want. But then if I turn around and say, I identify as a two-spirited black lesbian, I'm like, no, you don't. Well, you guys are bigots. What if I want to identify as that? What if that's how I feel today? But again, like, it's just, they can't hold any consistency to their stuff. And that's the problem. And I mean, I don't know how people don't see it. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong, if you think I'm wrong. But I mean, we're in a shit decline right here. We're not in a good state, and this is not going to get any better. Like I said, we're looking at probably $100 billion deficit going in this year. It's fucking insane. Well, not this year, but I guess it's over a 5-year term or a 4 or 5-year term. But yeah, it's bad. It's bad. If you guys think I'm wrong, let me know why you think I'm wrong. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow for the next episode. Like I said, about how the left is simply the left and the right is now the right. Make sure y'all stay safe and enjoy your evening. Have a great one, guys.